Starting my first backpacking trip at Canyonlands, Needles District. So this story takes place a few years ago, before I had much camping or backpacking experience. This is my first solo backpacking trip. That's where you camp out in the backcountry, away from your vehicle. I'm going off for 2 days, or 2 nights, so 3 days. So the day I started this hike, it was about 105 degrees Fahrenheit, so like crazy hot. And I just got done talking to the park ranger, and she had told me that 2 days previously, a trail runner had died from heat exhaustion while running out on these trails. And I only have enough water for 1 day, which is a very scary feeling. But there's a spring out like 7 miles out, and I'm really banking on that because I have a water filter, and I'll just fill up. Now, I knew there's like risks involved with hiking, especially when there's like really high heat, but for some reason I just always thought I was kind of immune to that. Like, it's not gonna happen to me, and you know, whatever dangerous situation I got myself into, I'd be able to figure out how to get out of it. Quick backpack on break. Find a good place to sit and take the weight off your back. Yeah, so it turns out I like totally took the wrong route. Check it out. See, I was planning on doing that one, but I guess I accidentally went down this outer rim here. Because of this initial mistake, I have to hike 7.2 miles to my campsite, where I'm gonna drop off my backpack and my gear, and then I'm gonna try hiking 2 miles back to the spring to fill up some water, and then hike back to camp. This is the trail. This is gonna be tough with this giant pack. Now, if you've never hiked before with overnight gear on your back, it can be pretty damn heavy, especially because I didn't have a lot of the expensive stuff that was really lightweight, so I had a lot of weight on my back, and when you're hiking for 6+ hours in 100-degree weather, it really wears you out. I'm, I don't know, 5 miles deep. I'm getting real tired. Now, if you've ever been hiking in Utah, you would know what these things are called cairns. They're these stacks of rocks, and they're the things that guide you on the trail, because you can't really make like a trail out of the desert ground. You just have to follow these stacks of rocks. Now, this was kind of my first time doing this, and you kind of develop an eye for it, and I didn't have that eye yet, so I literally kept getting lost. I must have got lost on this hike like 15 times, and one time it cost me like an hour and a half. That was one hell of a fuck up I just did. Those narrow passageways, that was the wrong way. It took me an hour to get through these 2 narrow passageways. There's holes in my tent bag. Really hope there's no holes in my tent. Always follow the cairns. Pay attention. I was not paying attention. Okay, so I finally make it to camp, and at this point I'm out of water. I'm totally exhausted from hiking like way too many miles after getting lost a bunch of times, and I just want to lay down, but I have to drop all my stuff, take all my water bottles and my water filter, and then go try to find water, you know, hike more to go try to find water. Oh my God. My camelback just ran out. Gonna have to make the trek tonight to the spring to go get some water. So I go off in search of water, and in this next scene, this is like where I first realized that I don't really have an exit strategy here. If there's no spring and I can't find it, I don't really know what I'm gonna do, because it's so hot that I really need water or something bad might happen. And I just remember this feeling like deep inside of me, like I was like losing control. Like I fucked up and there's nothing I can really do about it. So I just had to pray that I would be able to find water. This feels like a fucking survival situation. I'm like literally out of water, and I'm way too far away from my car or any like water source besides the alleged spring. I really fucking hope it's here. Would be lying if I said I wasn't worried. Kind of scared right now. Okay, so spoiler, I found water. It wasn't the spring. The spring actually ended up being dried up, but it left these pools of stagnant water within the rock that I was able to use to fill up. You know, I would never recommend using this as your drinking water, but this was kind of an emergency situation, and it's just what I had to use. Filled up. Camelback, both water bottles. Like here, let me show you the water. Let me show you what we're dealing with here. It's pretty gnarly. There are like these little bugs floating around on it. And you see like all these little parasites swimming around. It's pretty murky. I mean, it's kind of, you know, survival situation. That's why I'm drinking it. Wow, even just like going back into that footage is like making my heart start pound and kind of like just takes me back to that moment. I'm so glad that I was able to capture it on video. So this was like a huge learning experience. Like I genuinely thought I could die, you know, because the park ranger told me someone had died a couple days ago. So that was kind of in the back of my mind this entire time that it could happen. And this tough experience taught me a lot about how to be prepared when backpacking. When it comes to things that involve like your survival, like water and food and your shelter, you can't play around with those things. You need your initial plan and then you need a backup plan, you know? If I should have just carried extra water, it would have been extra weight, but just in case I wasn't able to go find some, I should have had extra. And you know, the same goes for your shelter. Like if my tent would have ripped, I didn't even have like a repair kit or anything like that. That could have huge consequences as well. So that's it. Back at camp. Getting all settled in. Already ate dinner number 1. I was starving. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna eat a ton of food and watch the sunset. This was a very humbling experience. Mother Nature was teaching me what it really means to be prepared. I've kept this experience in the back of my mind in all the backcountry hikes that I've done after this. And I always ask myself, am I really prepared? Do I really have enough water? Do I have a backup plan? And I'm gonna keep this in mind for all my hikes in the future and make sure I'm prepared like when I go climb Mount Everest one day. All right, guys, that's it. That's what I wanted to share with you. Okay, so I've got one more memorable experience about this hike that I wanted to share. See this silver thing strapped to my backpack? Apparently in this part of the desert, it takes like thousands of years for your feces to compost, like completely. So the park rangers make you pack all your shit out. So I had to shit in this bag and strap it to the back of my backpack because I didn't want to put it like in my backpack with my food and then just carry it out. And then, you know, like whenever I pass anyone on the trail, I'm just like, God, I hope they don't smell my shit back there. Hey, let me know down in the comments if you guys like this kind of content, because I've got a whole bunch of other stories of some crazy stuff that's happened to me while traveling and like while climbing cell phone towers. That's what my job was last. And I could share those too if you guys are interested. If you want to see more videos from me, don't forget to subscribe. All right, I'll see you in the next one.